Hey friend, Graham here from recordingrevolution.com, and welcome back to our Mixing a Song from Scratch mini-series where I'm giving you a step-by-step plan for how to take your raw recordings and mix them together and enhance them in such a way that they could sound good out in the real world. That's what mixing's all about, and I'm going to give you those steps in this series. In the first video, we looked at the most important step, and that is the static mix, creating a balance of volume and pan only to set your foundation for the rest of the mix. Most people skip this, and most people turn out bad mixes. So I want you to go back and watch that video if you haven't already. Very, very important, very fun and easy step, but it is often overlooked. Now today, we are going to start playing with effects, things called plugins or inserts that you can actually grab, EQs, compressors, things like that. But we're going to go in a place where a lot of people don't go for some reason, and we're going to go on the master fader or the mix bus. So instead of grabbing a guitar or a bass or a vocal and putting some effects on those tracks, we're going to start on the entire mix as a whole. Your master fader or your mix bus, same thing, is this final track, a stereo track that all of your audio goes through eventually, and it usually points to your speakers or your headphones. We can also insert plugins or effects on this track, and that means if I put an EQ here, it will apply that processing to everything going through it, which would be everything here, all the tracks. If I apply some compression here, it applies compression to the whole mix. So it's a very powerful place to put effects because you can quickly and easily affect everything with only one or two plugins. But it's also a dangerous place because you can quickly and easily destroy your mix with one or two plugins. So the key here is to do subtle, gentle, little moves that really have a good cumulative effect. Now, why would I start on the master fader instead of going to the vocal or the bass or the guitar? Well, because I can actually make my mix sound better quicker and with fewer plugins if I start here. If the whole mix is a little dull and I need to brighten it up, I can do it with one plugin here. If the whole mix just needs a little bit more pump and energy, I can do it with just one plugin here. And what that means is once I've gotten some good stuff going on here on the whole mix, then when I go to the individual tracks, there won't be nearly as much work to do. This is something I call top-down mixing in other places, but you start at the top layer, which is the mix bus. So let's begin. What I want to do are two things here on the mix. The last video, we created a balance, and so now I kind of have the volume and pan where I want it. I want to bring in some EQ and some compression to the mix bus. And so what I've got here is the song. I'm going to have it sort of looped here at the loudest part of the song where everything's in. And I'm going to start playing with EQ. So here we are on the mix.
Won't put up the fire tonight. Light it up and let it burn.
And then what I'm going to do is on my master fader, I'm going to grab an EQ. And your DAW will have an EQ of some kind. And I'm going to use this to process the entire mix, knowing that every booster cut I do here is going to affect everything. So my goal here is going to be to do subtle moves. Instead of 3 to 6 dB booster cuts, I'm going to probably do 1 to 2 dB booster cuts. Keep it subtle, keep it gentle. It will make a difference. So I'm going to press play, and I'm going to affect the EQ a little bit, add some booster cuts, and then we'll show you what I've done.
Won't put up the fire tonight. Light it up and let it burn. Won't silence the truth in the night. Yeah. Won't bury it. Oh. Won't bury it. Oh. Won't bury it. Oh. I won't bury it. Oh, won't bury it. Won't put up the fire tonight. Light it up and let it burn. Won't silence the truth in the night. Yeah, won't bury it. Oh, won't bury it. Oh, won't bury it. Oh.
All right. right, so here I've played around. I did 4 moves. I did 2 cuts and 2 boosts. So I cut a little bit at 385 hertz. I did a little bit of a high pass filter. I rolled off low stuff, so everything below 20 hertz. And then I did 2 boosts. I did one at 2.6K, and then I did a shelf boost at around 6.8K. So the goals here were to roll off any low sub frequencies that aren't needed in this song to free up headroom and space for everything else. Then to get rid of some of the boxy low-mid stuff that's usually around 400 hertz. This really can be a quick way to clean up your mix, just getting a little bit of that out there, 400, 350, 300. This boost here in the green was to kind of bring out some of the articulation on the guitars and the drums a little bit. And then this shelf boost here kind of opens up the top end a little bit of the air, a little bit of the sparkle of the mix. So what I'm going to do is just bypass this so you can hear what happens when the EQ goes away.
Won't put up the fire tonight. Light it up and let it burn. Won't silence the truth in the night. Yeah. Won't bury it. Oh. Won't bury it. Oh. Won't bury it.
It's subtle, but you hear the guitars on the edges open up a bit more. The vocals lift a little bit more. When you take away the EQ, it gets a little more closed off, like the mix is a little flatter. So again, this is very subtle. I'm trying to paint the picture that this doesn't do a drastic change, but it subtly enhances your mix. Now let's grab a compressor. Let's grab stock compressor here. Now compressors on the Master Fader are mostly helpful for reining in some of the peaks, some of the really loud transient stuff here or there, and just squeezing the mix just a little bit so we can make it pump a little bit more. You can really overdo this, so I really would suggest you do gentle settings. So what I'm going to do is take the threshold all the way up to the top, and I'm going to keep the attack at, I like that, 10 milliseconds. I wouldn't do any faster of an attack. Any faster and you start to really squeeze it. I'm going to actually make the release a little bit faster here. So what that will do is let the compressor reset very quickly so you're not squashing anything. And what I'll do is press play, and I'll slowly pull the threshold down, which is this orange knob here or this orange triangle here. And I'll be watching the GR or gain reduction meter to see how much it's turning down the loud peaks, and then we'll adjust from there.
Won't put up the fire tonight. Light it up and let it burn. Won't silence the truth in the night. Yeah. Won't bury it. Oh. Won't bury it. Oh. Won't bury it. Oh. I won't bury it.
All right, and now I'm going to turn up the makeup gain a little bit here.
Won't put up the fire tonight. Light it up and let it burn. Won't silence the truth in the night. Yeah. Won't bury it. Oh.
So what I did there was I set the threshold at such a place that it was knocking off 1 to 3 dB of gain on the loud peaks. And then I used the makeup gain knob here to turn back up the compressor so I'm not making the mix quieter. And what that's going to do is bring out some of the lower transients to make them pump a bit more. And you'll just have to take a listen to what it does. Let me press play and I'll take away the compressor.
Won't put up the fire tonight. Light it up and let it burn. Won't silence the truth in the night. Yeah. Won't bury it. Oh. Won't bury it. Oh. Won't bury it. Oh. I won't bury it.
Again, very subtle, but it's bringing out more smack of the kick and snare and pushing the mix a little bit more forward. Like I've said, using mix bus processing, the key is to be subtle, but what's frustrating is being subtle, because typically when you're newer to mixing, you want to hear drastic results, and that's not the way to mix. There are moments for drastic moves, but more often than not, and especially on the mix bus, it's the subtle strategic moves that make the big impact. And if you can train yourself to make the moves that you know are correct, that feel correct, but they're not quite hitting hard enough for you, then you know you're at a good spot, and you'll win in the end, because you'll have the nice musical mix, not the one that's just overcooked and overprocessed. Now let's bypass both of these and see how far we've come with just 2 plugins on the Master Fader.
Won't put up the fire tonight. I light it up and let it burn. Won't silence the truth in the night. Yeah, I won't bury it. Oh, I won't bury it. Oh, I won't bury it. I won't bury it. I won't bury it.
There you go. The mix already sounds more alive, more forward. Vocals are popping out a bit more. Guitars are popping out a bit more. Drums hit harder. It sounds, when you take it away is when you notice it, right? You take away the EQ and the compression, you notice that the mix is just a little flatter, a little less interesting, little, you know? And so that is what we're doing here. We're already enhancing every aspect of this mix with just 2 plugins on the Master Fader. We're at a place now where if I start to actually bring in some EQ and compression and things to the individual tracks, they will come together a lot faster. So in the next video, what I'm going to show you is how to think about EQ in your mix, how to strategically use EQ to make your mix pop. It is probably the most important tool that you have as a mixer, as an equalizer, and I'm going to show you the right way to approach it and how to sculpt and create clarity in your mix. Now, before you go, I want to make sure that you download something. I've got a gift for you. It is called my 6 Steps to a Radio Ready Song Guide. This is a absolutely free guide that you got to download that will walk you through every single thing you need to know about how to create music in your home studio. So what it does is it breaks down the song creation and releasing process into 6 critical steps. Recording is one of them, of course. Mixing, what we're doing now, is one of them, but there are 4 more steps that are very, very vital to creating songs that sound so good they could be played on the radio, whether you're on radio or not. So just download it for free right now at RadioReadyGuide.com is my gift to you. Think of it as a companion guide to this entire video series. Have it on your phone, have it on your tablet, or print it up if you're old school, and use it while you're making music. Reference it, because it'll walk you through each step, what to do first, what to do second, from the moment you have a song idea, walking you all the way through, sharing it with the world, and it sounding killer. So check it out at RadioReadyGuide.com. Subscribe to these videos so you'll know when the next one is out in the series. Other than that, my friend, have a great week. Make some great music. I'll see you on the next video.